Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Dimple Shaw, Vice President, Simulia Worldwide Sales.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome back. I hope all of you had a great lunch. And welcome to the second Simulia plenary session of this event. I'm Dimple, and I've been with Simulia for the best years of my life. That's what I'll say. For many years, we at Simulia look forward to this event because it really gives us a chance to connect with all of you, the innovators of our community, and be inspired by your success stories. And this event has been the same, where we've really had so many high moments thanks to all the excellent presenters and speakers over the last 2 days. But we want more, don't we? And we're going to get more. So it's my privilege here to be your host for this session. And we have a line of 3 very exciting talks in this session. First up, it's my privilege to introduce Scott Berkey, our CEO. Scott joined us in 2006 as a vice president for worldwide operations. And a couple of years later, he assumed the role of our CEO. And I've really admired Scott for many different reasons, but one in particular is his tenacity to continue exercising no matter what. He's an avid bike rider, takes part in the Pan Mass Challenge, runs very regularly, and he's also a technology geek. He's got more gadgets that I always appreciate him getting. And I'd like to introduce Scott to come on stage, and because I think he's going to challenge us to change our mindset on taking new approaches so that we as this community can always be at the leading edge of innovation. So Scott, rock the stage.
Thank you, Dimple. Hello, there we go. Thank you, Dimple. Dimple and I had a bit of a, well, I think, and with David Barnes, we have a bit of a technology race as we're always checking out the interesting gadgets out there. And I was in the gym not till 5:15 this morning, and I did see a few of you. So much for the exercise bit. As Dimple said, I got to start doing this, I think, back in May of 2008. And so this is my 10th time to be with you at this event, and I'm really pleased that you're here. And if I haven't gotten a chance to interact with you, I really look forward to doing that. So, Dimple said it's my job to challenge you, I guess. And I have been thinking quite a bit about this opportunity. Hearing the speakers so far since the program began, like Carolyn Collins from UI Labs on the first session, and certainly Yohu was a great story yesterday that he told us right before the demonstration that we saw. And those really provided, those and the others, of course, provided a lot of input for what I'm about to say. You might remember years ago we used to talk about how simulation needed to become an integral part of the product development process. And we said that for several years in a row, and we really believe that. But with the advances in technology and some of the other capabilities that we have, I think part of my job is to try to get to a point where we believe we're going in the future. Historically, many of you have applied the technologies that you have, whether that's in structures or fluids or electromagnetics or whatever, to help your organization solve a particular problem. Here's an example, as you can see. The example is in the creation of can forming, and it's a example of the forming that's going on in the bottom of that can. And many of us still do this today, and this ability for us to apply the technologies that we're really good at using is critically important today as it will be in the future. And so this isn't something we're going to stop doing, but it's something that we need to do in the context of a bigger approach. Many of our organizations, and we're all at a different point on the continuum of what I'm going to talk about today, but many of our organizations operate still in somewhat of what you might call silos. And you can see some of them here, where somebody determines the market requirements, we do the analysis, we come up with the concept, we begin to do some industrial design to come up with some design ideas, and then we go into detailed design. And sometimes simulation is still disconnected from that overall process, and then of course into manufacturing and on through the product life cycle. This is the way many things have been for years. Some of your organizations have changed this and maybe have taken a few of these groups and helped them collaborate more than they have in the past. As I said, we're all at a different point on the continuum of where we are in our own maturity, but we've seen this for sure. Today, innovative businesses are adopting a more unified approach to solve a more holistic industry challenge. And so you can see an example of that here. They do this by changing the mindset, by reinventing the process. In essence, transforming their own business from using siloed or point solutions to thinking about this in a more holistic way. And so that's my challenge for you today. I'll spend the next few minutes talking about that, and I'm going to challenge you to revisit your own workflows. Now, you might not call them workflows. You might think of them more like methods, maybe, or maybe you think of them as processes. But we need to rethink how we conduct all of the things that are going on across all those points or those silos I talked about a couple slides ago. You might ask why. Why? Well, first, we're moving into a much more capable digital age. And now, as you saw in the demonstration yesterday, it's possible to have digital continuity across the process. We have best practices that we want to embrace. The roles in our organizations may be transforming in where we used to have a designer and then an analyst. Those roles may be blurring and the roles may be changing. Of course, the technology. The technology is changing. We have many more capabilities than we've had in the past. You've heard us talk about multi-physics and multi-scale. You've heard us talk about the platform. Those are clearly enabling technologies that we can use when we rethink our processes. And so let's just take an example from the consumer packaged good industry, just to highlight how and why we could benefit from rethinking our processes. Let's start with a video.
Five to 8 seconds. That's how long it takes to make a buying decision at shelf. An instant between winning the customer's share of mind and losing it. Millions of dollars are spent on package design to capture the consumer's mind for just 5 to 8 seconds. And yet, 50% of those packaging initiatives fail. Why? Packaging efforts are spread across siloed organizations. Design, manufacturing, artwork, and packaging suppliers don't interact in real time. They are in their own box. The Perfect Package 3D experience from Dassault Systems unites these organizations, cutting design time in half, reducing material cost by 30 to 50%, virtually eliminating packaging-related recalls and quality issues, and making the most of the precious decision-making seconds at shelf. New package design can take 18 months to 2 years or longer, unacceptable in today's competitive world.
Great. So you can see some of the challenges that aren't typical maybe to other industries, but are to consumer packaged goods. Yesterday's example in the demos, you might recall, was transportation and mobility, and through the demo, you could apply the things that you're seeing in the demo maybe to your industry, and I hope it's the same with this example. But you can see here the pressures that the industry faces with shorter time to market, the need for collaboration, the need for cost reduction. And in this particular case, in the CPG industry, we know that we're talking about high volumes, millions and millions of products produced where margins are thin and the volume is really the name of the game. And so you can see here the inefficient collaboration that we could experience, the need for shorter time to market, the profit pressure, the sustainability goals, etc. And so in this industry, we may be suffering from some of these silos that I talked about. And here you can see the different parts of the process that need to be completed: artwork and labeling, primary package design and secondary package design, shelf trays, point of sales materials, package production, palleting of the material, and of course shipping. And of course that's not everything, but that's a nice overview of just some of the things in this process that need to be considered. And if we're doing those in silos, we're probably sub-optimizing portions of the process. And so what we'd like to do, of course, is we'd like to break the silos using digital continuity. So how would we do that? How would we break the silos? And what are the benefits that if we could break the silos, we might be able to drive? And so I'll talk about how we're going to try to do that. We want to do this by adding value at each step of the way. In this case, simulation has a big role to play in these silos. But as I said when I was beginning, is when you looked at the demonstration yesterday that Gregor and Srinivas and Carl did, it wasn't all about simulation. You saw Inovia being used in that demonstration. You saw CATIA being used from a design standpoint in that demonstration. And so it's bigger than reconsidering our process or our method or our workflow is not just about simulation. Simulation is critical, as you see here in this slide, but it's bigger than simulation because we need to think about the entire process, the organizations we interact with, the different capabilities that those organizations need. Now, in this example, of course, you can see the value of simulation at many of the steps that we saw in the last slide. In the case of artwork and labeling, or in the case of primary package or secondary package design. And then, of course, it moves all the way around to palleting and delivery. And I'm sure there's other examples of things that aren't covered here, like if it doesn't go on a pallet, but it goes in a pouch because somebody like Amazon is shipping it, there's probably a whole nother simulation that needs to go on with the primary packaging if it wasn't being palletized and shipped. But you can see here, simulation can play many roles. Here's a couple examples. This one is providing the artwork to the designers, and of course the artwork needs to look good when the package is full. And so we need to be able to simulate the filling of that package and what happens to the visual effect of the artwork when it gets full. Now, I suspect the artwork department's going to be concerned about when it's empty as well, right? Because eventually, whatever's in there is going to get consumed, and we still want it to look good, but when it's on the shelf, that's the way it's going to look, and that's, of course, a really important time for the product to be looking its best. So, artwork taking advantage of simulation. This is at the other end of the process when we're talking about palletizing that product. Here you can see a moving truck with a pallet on top. We're simulating that with CATIA systems. And then, of course, we're also simulating the loads on that pallet with Simulia, and in this case, Abacus. And so here's an example of trying to understand how that product will move successfully across actual road surfaces, and how the loading of that pallet will impact the product itself. So 2 examples of simulation in this process.
Perfect Package can reduce that to days or weeks while virtually eliminating prototyping and testing. A real benefit whether you're creating a new product or adapting an existing package for a new market or geography. For a new line extension, ingredient change, or label change, Perfect Package can help you deliver new artwork in as little as 48 hours, not the usual 6 to 8 weeks. And in your pursuit of the perfect package, you can make sustainability a fundamental aspect of design, creating packages that delight consumers, are efficient through the supply chain, and yet are still gentle to the earth. Perfect Package opens the world of collaboration to package design, cutting design time, reducing material costs, and virtually eliminating packaging errors. Work together, work better, work faster. The Perfect Package 3D experience. Make the most out of your 5 to 8 seconds and win the race for the customer's share of mind.
So, an example of rethinking the workflow or the process at a higher level than maybe we've thought about it in the past. How do we at Dassault System provide you with a platform and the technology to revisit and reinvent your workflow? Well, our strategy is social industry experience. Social because the business world is going social. Industry because understanding the needs of each industry and how we can deliver value to that industry is a game changer for all of us. And lastly, experience because we're in an experience economy, we believe, and it's bigger than brands, as I said before, and bigger than just the product alone. And we do that by providing the 3D experience platform. This is a business experience platform offered on-premise or in a public or private cloud. And it's really there because we think today making the best product is no longer good enough. We must make the best product, but we must communicate that product in the context of the ultimate consumer experiencing that product. And so this platform is there to not only help you engineer your products, but to help you create an experience for your ultimate consumer. None of that is possible without a platform. Our goal at Simulia is to create a multi-scale, multi-discipline technology offering. And we have been working at this for some time, and it's a critical component of rethinking the process. It's not the only component, but it is absolutely a critical component. And so you can see whether it's structures or chemical or bio or geophysics or thermal or fluids or electromagnetic or controls across the physics. And at whatever scale you need it, most of us, I think, are comfortable at that physical scale, but we of course might need to be at the micro scale. And as I said, it's bigger than brands. And when we're at the micro scale, we're working with Biovia, our sister brand. And of course, we might need to be at the functional scale. And again, we'll be working with CATIA systems and other parts of Simulia to be up at the controls or the functional scale. So, multi-physics and multi-scale strategy. And of course, as you know, we have a deep commitment to R&D, but we also have a vibrant partner community that you've seen in the room next to us. And of course, we have from time to time brought other organizations to join us through M&A. And here's a picture just describing that. You might know that the birth of simulation at Dassault System was with CATIA, with a linear technology, and also similarly in SolidWorks. And then in 2005, with the acquisition of Abacus, we brought those three teams together to form this new brand called Simulia. And we've done many acquisitions in the years since then, many of them Simulia, but as I said, it's bigger than brand, and so some of those were CATIA as well. And we had some particular activity in 2016, and I want to talk about those for just a second. The first one that we announced was CST, and we welcomed roughly about 300 people to join us. Very, very talented people in the electromagnetic space. And so, of course, we welcome these. We had been a partner with CST for quite some time, and so we knew each other very well, and it seemed like the logical thing for us to come together. And so we are very fortunate to have the CS team as part of Simulia and Dassault System. A lot of those people, just so you know, are in Darmstadt, Germany, but some of them are here in the US as well, and all over the world. Next, you might know that we've been developing fluids technology for a number of years. It's been Navier-Stokes technology. It's available on the 3D Experience platform, and I think 3 rolls today. I might be not quite right, but I think it's about 3 rolls today. And so that work continues on. But we thought a good way to complement what we are doing with Navier-Stokes technology was to add lattice-Boltzmann technology. And so we are happy that the team from X-Flow, and some of them are here with us, of course, this week, the team from Madrid joined us to add lattice-Boltzmann technology to our Navier-Stokes and give us a broad coverage in the fluids area. And lastly, another very important technology, as cars and planes and other products become quieter and quieter, mostly because of electrification, which also needs CST, by the way. As they get quieter, we hear noises that we never heard before because they're mostly drowned out by engine noise. And so the Wave 6 team joined us to provide the vibroacoustic technology that we really needed to serve our customers. And so welcome to all 3 of those teams. I think you'll hear a little bit more about them as the agenda goes on. And so Simulia today is a strong brand. We've got a global reach. We're about 1,400 employees today in about 32 different locations. Part of our business model is to make sure our engineers are close to you and your engineers, and so we can collaborate with you on your different difficult engineering challenges. We have about 200 partners, many of which are in the room next to us, and we focus on a high quality support, high level of innovation, and a high level of customer satisfaction. So with all that, I hope that I was able to sort of point the way that we think that we will go forward. We were trying to make simulation an integral part of the product development process, but now we need to make sure that we take that multi-physics, multi-scale technology, our partners' technology, and the other technologies that you use in your organization, and together with other brands, other design technologies or manufacturing technologies, that we consider the whole process, the whole method, the whole workflow, not just the simulation components, because they've all got to work together to provide the kind of value to your organizations that we need to provide. And so with that, I would say thank you very much. I've enjoyed being with you this week. I hope that this challenge gives you something to think about. I look forward to seeing you through the rest of the conference. Thank you very much.